region, nation, and world prepare for a century of change. Consistently investing in higher education allows NIU and our sister institutions to do this work with excellence, to keep talent in Illinois, transform communities, and build an incredible future for our state. Universities are economic engines, and NIU takes pride that we're responsible for 8,100 jobs and $1.2 billion in economic output in Illinois annually. And we're even more proud to be home to 16,000 students who have immeasurable talent, gifts, and dreams that are in high demand by employers and warrant investment. NIU has a deep and long-standing commitment to delivering a high-quality education that is accessible, affordable, and equitable. We know that a degree can change the life of a student and change the trajectory of their families' lives. That is why NIU has worked tirelessly to remove barriers and biases to earning a degree. Recognizing that students' hard work in high school is reflected in their grades, we became one of the nation's first public universities to announce test-free admission and merit scholarship processes. Our Husky Pledge program is helping to ensure that qualifying Illinois students from lower-income households can attend college with no tuition or general fees for the first year and potentially beyond. Our Rockford Promise NIU Scholarship is creating opportunities for hundreds of students from the city of Rockford to earn NIU degrees without having to pay tuition or fees. We've also eliminated undergraduate application fees. NIU strives to reduce the costs that could stand in the way of improving an individual's social mobility, and MAP funding is essential to this endeavor. Nearly 50%, nearly half of our undergraduate students receive MAP funding, and MAP aid is a difference maker for every single recipient. MAP can determine whether a student works 1 or 2 jobs while in school, or if a student has time to participate in research, community service, an internship, or student government. For some students, MAP funding is the difference between going to college or not. The proposed increase in MAP funding for fiscal year 23 will provide more students with needed relief and expanded possibilities. Governor Pritzker, on behalf of NIU, we appreciate your continued commitment to and confidence in higher education and how that's reflected in your budget proposal. We take seriously our responsibility to educate Illinois' next generation of great leaders, caregivers, engineers, educators, artists, and more, while being a committed steward of our resources and the trust of Illinois citizens. And it is now my honor and pleasure to introduce our governor, the Honorable JB Pritzker.
Well, thank you very much, President Freeman. Thanks for your kind words and for your amazing work here at Northern Illinois. Under your leadership, NIU has grown its enrollment by 12% in 2021. That's nothing to sneeze at. And it's the 5th consecutive year of gains and the largest percentage increase in more than 2 decades. The impact of more Illinois students being able to attend college right here in state can't be overstated. And I'm really grateful to NIU's leadership for their partnership in making that happen. I want to acknowledge my longtime friendship now with Eric Wazowitz, the board chair here. He called me right before I became governor and implored me to take a good look at NIU and make sure that we were providing the resources that were necessary, that there was a lot of work that was being done to lift up this institution and make it even greater than it already was. And I was grateful for the opportunity to learn more about NIU and over the last 3 years to be able to provide resources so that NIU can be the rocket ship that it is today. So thank you for your service, Eric. I also want to thank Mayor Cohen Barnes for welcoming me and all of us really to DeKalb and for your great leadership. It's been a hard time to be a leader of any institution, to be a leader, an elected leader in office during a pandemic, and I appreciate the tough situation that everybody's been faced in public office, and so thank you very much. I especially want to thank, though, the students who are behind me, Lorena and Devlin and Rebecca, who are here today representing their fellow Huskies. I'm really looking forward to your remarks in just a few minutes. It's no secret that for years, looking at, before I became governor, for years, our public universities became less and less affordable for working families across Illinois. And that had to change. We had to do something about that to turn that around. People talk about an exodus from the state of Illinois. You know that a plurality of the people who are leaving the state of Illinois are young people in our state who are, and a little older than young people, looking to get a college education. And just when it's unaffordable, you've got to get up and leave and go to a place where people are providing you with enough resources and where it's affordable enough. So I knew I had to get to work, and I did. I went to work implementing a plan with 3 priorities to lower the cost of higher education. Increase MAP grants by 50% or $200 million. That's first. Second, make Illinois a top 5 state in getting more federal student assistance and Pell Grants for more students to utilize. And third, to increase state support directly to institutions of higher learning. After the progress of the last few years and with the passage of this year's budget, hoped for over the next month, we will have achieved all 3 of those objectives. And we're seeing the impact already. This year, not only did roughly half of all NIU students receive our MAP grants, but every single student who was eligible across the board received a grant, making college more affordable for every student who needs it. That is what properly funding these initiatives can do. Now, this year, I've proposed that we add another $122 million to our MAP grant program, bringing total funding for MAP to $600 million. I'm also proposing that we make students who are pursuing certificates and other short-term programs eligible for support from MAP, so that no matter what path is right for you, you're able to access resources that can help launch the next step in your career. We're also increasing funding for NIU directly by 5%, and the same for NIU's peers all across the state. That's an extra $4.3 million for NIU this fiscal year and the same in the next fiscal year. In addition, with this budget, we will have more than doubled funding for minority teacher scholarships, increase the Diversifying Higher Education Faculty in Illinois program, providing new nursing scholarships, expanded early childhood education career upskilling, and much, much more. I want to acknowledge that the leadership here at NIU has done really great work to help us with this. When the State Board of Education asked for help in piloting recruitment and retention plans for teachers of color, for example, NIU stepped right up, and our state is so much better for it. Not only are we taking steps to shape our state's future, we're also correcting mistakes from Illinois' past. Over 2 decades ago, our state launched College Illinois and encouraged tens of thousands of Illinois families to invest in it to prepay their children's educations. By the time I entered office, it was way off track and headed for insolvency, leaving Illinois families holding the bag. So I believe government needs to keep its promises. So during my 3 years in office, I worked with the General Assembly to fix the problems with College Illinois, and I'm proud that finally this year, my budget will pay off in full the remaining unfunded liabilities of this program. We're making good on a promise made to thousands of Illinois families, and we're saving an additional $75 million in future taxpayer dollars by paying that off today. Our budget also recognizes that the journey to a college degree begins long before students set foot on a university campus. Research has shown that it's the steps that we take earlier in life that have an even greater effect on our path forward. So our 2023 proposal substantially increases resources for preschool and for K-12 education, including a $350 million increase for the K-12 evidence-based funding formula that will drive critical resources to our state's most underfunded schools. I'll say it every chance I get. The stronger our colleges and universities are, the greater our prospects for economic growth and jobs, and the more innovative and inclusive our future becomes. So here in Illinois, we're shaping a stronger future every single day. And with that, I'm very pleased to introduce the mayor of DeKalb, Mayor Barnes.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to thank the Board of Trustees that came out here today. It's awesome that you're spending some time here at Northern Illinois University, as you do so much of, and just taking the time to be a part of this event today. I also wanted to thank Councilperson Scott McAdams of the DeKalb City Council and City Manager Bill Nicholas for coming out today. This is exciting time. For the governor to see it as a priority to invest in higher education is phenomenal. And I'm going to focus on the economic development impact of higher education, not just for the city of DeKalb, but for DeKalb County and the state itself. I believe there's like three main components that higher education has a direct impact on the economy and economic development. First, the development of the next generation of great minds, and they do it year after year after year. And those of us that are around a university and around students, when you meet them and listen to how they talk about what's possible, and that's all they see is what's possible. They see the opportunity that's out there. That just invigorates you. It invigorates you as a business owner. It invigorates you as a mayor. And those students are the ones that come out seeing the possible and want to create it. They'll create it in our existing businesses that are here. They'll create it themselves by starting their own businesses. And we have seen that in the city of DeKalb over and over again because of Northern Illinois University. That enthusiasm creates opportunity and it creates innovation. So I'm super excited to see the governor's commitment to our higher institutions. Second, these students spend money. So for more MAP grants to be available means more students coming to Northern Illinois University, which means more students that are going to shop here. They're going to go out to the restaurants. They're going to take their dates out. They're going to spend time on the weekends. They're going to buy things, and that generates more economic development, more impact into the local economy in the form of shoring up those small businesses that cater to the students, right, that want to enjoy that relationship with them, but then also the sales tax revenue that they generate. That helps our local governing bodies as well. So just the fact that student population and increased student population, that impact it has on an individual city like the city of DeKalb, but also the region and the state itself, is a huge return on investment for the state. But third, a university creates a wealth of knowledge. It creates an educated workforce, and that is attractive to businesses that are looking for relocation or creation of a new division or a new thing or a new business completely in itself. We have seen that direct impact from NIU in the city of DeKalb here recently, with Ferrara Candy Company has built 1.6 million square feet of facilities here in DeKalb in just the last 2 years alone, right? And they're attracted in part because of the educated workforce we have. Amazon right now is building a massive distribution center right now in the city of DeKalb. And I can credit Northern Illinois University for having an impact on that. But then also, if you're not aware, Facebook, Meta now, Facebook is building a $800+ million, in fact, I'm going to round up, $1 billion investment in a data center here in the city of DeKalb. Is under construction as we speak. And their general contractor, Mortensen, is employing hundreds upon hundreds of construction workers with high-paying wages that are shopping here in DeKalb. They're buying food, they're buying fuel, and a lot of them are actually residing within the city of DeKalb. And that, Facebook specifically told us, Northern Illinois University being here, a higher education institution being here, was one of the primary deciding factors for them to make that investment. And the coolest thing, we just issued the permits for the next phase, which means another billion, more employees, more investment. And that impact on the city, on the region, and on the state of Illinois is absolutely phenomenal. And the governor driving that investment in the state of Illinois to be able to make our university even more vibrant, more attractive, and have more students be able to come here, that impact I am absolutely 100% in support of. And I think it's a wonderful idea. And I think the state of Illinois, no, I believe the state of Illinois is going to get a return on that investment multiple times over. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from some of our students. And I wanted to introduce Lorena up to the podium to share her personal experiences with the programs the governor's trying to drive. Lorena?
Thank you, Mayor Barnes. Everyone, hello. My name is Lorena. I am a sophomore majoring in sociology with a plan to further my education by going to law school here at NIU after I graduate. Before I get started, I would like to thank President Freeman and Governor Pritzker for giving me this opportunity to share my story and those of undocumented students. I grew up in a small rural town surrounded by cornfields. Growing up, I knew I was slightly different from my peers: skin color, language, food, and cultural traditions. During my senior year, I realized that in order to get help to go to college, I had to fill out the FAFSA. Sadly, I do not qualify for the FAFSA, meaning that I cannot get federal or state aid. While my friends and classmates were considering colleges and universities for which many would be given the option for funding or for student loans, I wondered if I could even piece together enough funding to afford tuition at a community college. I knew I could not disappoint my family or myself. What I did not know was how many scholarships I would need or even qualify for, how high my GPA had to be, and what sacrifices my family and I had to make even to afford a degree in a higher education. As you can imagine, I was already in a difficult concept to think about, as it was my senior year in high school. The pandemic only increased these worries. COVID-19 made its way into the lives of everyone as I prepared for my first year of college. My dad lost his job, which meant my parents had to work part-time jobs now. The rent got higher as we had to move due to safety issues. The only hope I had was applying and getting selected for enough scholarships to get myself through a community college. Thankfully, I was in touch with someone about the alternative FAFSA, also known as the RISE Act. I learned that I could qualify for MAP funding and the Husky Pledge here at NIU. What did MAP funding mean exactly? It meant I had an opportunity to attend a college. It decreased my worry about how to pay my tuition or if I could come back next semester. So many of my peers deal with this same cycle of anxiety every semester. Thanks to MAP funding, I came to a welcoming campus. I got involved with an organization that I dearly love, Dream Action NIU, and proudly became its co-president. Dream Action NIU is made up of students and allies who aim to increase awareness about the situations undocumented students face in the U.S. and particularly on our campus. Our members share the belief that higher education is a fundamental human right, regardless of citizenship status. Dream Action is grateful to have MAP funding for undocumented students who qualify. We appreciate the financial support that MAP funding has given qualifying undocumented students on our campus and in this state. We realize not all undocumented students qualify for the alternative application, and we still have work to do to help all undocumented Huskies on our campus. Thanks to MAP funding, I can proudly say I am a Husky. Thank you everyone for your time, and I will now pass it on to Devlin Collins.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Devlin Collins. I'm a fourth-year nonprofit and NGO studies major here at NIU, and I've been involved with coursework and activities all over the campus. I'm from a family on the south side of Chicago, a middle-class family of 8, and we always had enough to get by. It was always just enough. But in the years leading up to college and the years of high school, that's when things started to change a bit for my family, and we were were experiencing quite a bit of loss. At the time of college applications, my family had suffered the loss of my grandfather, my great-grandmother, and an uncle, all within weeks of each other. And my family of 8 was in between living situations. So with all of our financials tied up, it was imperative that I found an institution that would support me without gouging my expenses, and NIU was where it was. Had it not been for the funding that I got through MAP grants, through Pell grants, and through just general federal financing, I wouldn't be in college right now. I wouldn't be able to afford my education. But since then, since I've come to school, I've been involved in so much, and I've grown to positions I didn't think I would hold. I've been the previous treasurer and president of NAACP on campus. I've been a member of Black Student Union and Black Male Initiative, an organization that, molds African American males on campus to be in these conversations and to give back to the community. And, now I can officially say that I'm the president of the Student Government Association here on campus. So I can officially say that I'm on top of the campus, that I'm leading the campus. And, that's the greatest accomplishment to me, being able to come here, with the possibility that I wouldn't be able to continue my education before. And, I'm really able to look back because at the time my family needed so much support to, dispense out to my other siblings, to dispense out to my cousins, my aunts, and this gave us the opportunity to do that. After college, I intend on pursuing a master's degree and collecting something in political science through grad school, because I want to continue this and give back to my community. Eventually, I do want to join something and give back through the nonprofit sector, because I've seen that it's not that you need to wait on policy or government, but we can uplift each other if we just work together in the community. And that's really the greatest thing that I've learned while I'm here with the amazing instructors that are teaching the courses and the peers that I'm gaining through the student activities that I have. So that's why I really love to be a Husky, and that's really what MAP has done for me. It's really brought a new community to my life. And with that, I just really want to say thank you to Governor Pritzker and the investments that are coming forward, because that'll bring more students that are like us, that are looking to achieve beyond what we've excelled in today. And with that, I just want to pass it on to Rebecca to share her remarks as well.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca Gonzalez. I would just like to thank Governor Pritzker, President Freeman, Mayor Barnes, Board of Trustees, faculty, and my fellow students for being here today and listening to me speak. Things have been difficult for as long as I can remember. Sitting in kindergarten in the lunchroom and watching people eat while you have to pick out whatever they've given you, listening to your parents argue with the electric company because your brother, who has breathing issues, needs access to power that we cannot afford. Hearing that insurance will not cover the cost of surgery for a sister whose spine is curving, nerves are dying, and one pipe is collapsing. And realizing that you might not be able to pursue higher education because everyone in your family only makes enough to cover the cost of one semester in the entire year. Things have been hard. But recently, things have gotten easier. Things have gotten easier because I was accepted to my dream school. Things have gotten easier because I have been able to attend a school that has provided enough funding where I don't have to worry about having to pay anything out of pocket. As a first-generation student, I was able to participate in the Husky Service Scholars Program, where I learned about how to be a college student while completing about 100 hours of service per semester. I lived in the honors house and met students who are still my best friends to this day and who are going to become my colleagues down the line. I joined a service sorority where I was able to reconnect with my childhood best friend and become part of the executive board. I joined the Women's Volleyball Club, and I'm also on the executive board for that too. I became one of the directors of the NIU Penguin Players, which is a theater program for individuals with disabilities, and is actually the same program that my sister and I joined back in our hometown while I was in high school, but I had to unfortunately quit because I had graduated. I was selected to become a McKern Fellow after completing the Research Rookies program. I completed research on diabetes and polymer protein core shell nanoparticles, and I'm now working on synthesizing cathode materials and the fabrication of coin cells. I also became a published researcher on polymers last semester. I'm currently double majoring in medical laboratory sciences and chemistry and double minoring in special education foundations and biology. I am able to pursue everything that I want to. Without MAP funding, I would not have been able to pursue any of this or be the one my family can count on, or be here where I can authentically be me, and I am so happy with life. Life has been easier because everyone wants me to succeed, and succeed I will. Thank you all for being here today to support NIU. Governor Pritzker will now be back for any questions.
I really am just amazed at these young people. Can we all give them a big round of applause? Terrific, really. Before I take questions from members of the media, I want to speak to yesterday's announcement from U.S. Attorney John Lausch. As I said yesterday, an indictment of this magnitude is a condemnation of a system infected with promises of pay to play. The era of corruption and self-dealing among Illinois politicians must end. The conduct alleged in this indictment is deplorable and a stark violation of the public's trust. Michael Madigan must be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Ultimately, every person in elective office is responsible for doing the right thing and not lining their own pockets. I'm fully committed to eradicating the scourge of corruption from our political system, and yesterday's indictment is an important step in cleaning up Illinois. I have faith that our justice system will help restore the public's trust in government. When I ran for office, I made it clear that I would be beholden to no one and that I would serve the best interests of the people of Illinois. I've upheld that vow. For the past 3 years, my administration has made clear that such abuses will not be tolerated, and we've tightened our ethics laws. And I will continue to work with the General Assembly to restore the public's trust. I thank you, and now I'd be happy to take questions from members of the media.
Spoke with Mike Madigan.
On March 1st, I called to let him know that we would be making changes at the Illinois Arts Council. Yes.
And you spoke voluntarily with federal investigators about the investigation. What do you think the people of Illinois need to know about the conversation you had?
Only that I was asked to be a witness and that they wanted to talk about any interactions, and I was happy to cooperate and answer any and all of their questions. I've answered all of them, in fact, and if you want more detail about what those questions were, I'd refer you to the U.S. Attorney's Office for any additional information about that.
Was it clear to you when you talked to the feds in late February that they were poised to indict him?
It was not clear to me. I mean, they had questions that were obviously around some wrongdoing, but it was not clear to me that they were prepared to indict.
In your dealings with Madigan during your time in office, did you ever suspect, in hindsight now, that anything he was doing was not above board and that it was anything more than what he called routine constituent services?
Not from any of the interactions that I had with him. Remember, I was governor, he was Speaker of the House, there was a Senate president, there were leaders across the General Assembly. I needed to work with all of them, and so none of the interactions that I had were anything other than about, things to do with doing the right thing in government for the people.
That closed the books on the Madigan investigation after comment came out that was chaired by then State Representative Chris Welch. They closed that, found nothing wrong. Was it a mistake in hindsight not to have Madigan called before and testify based on what we now know that there clearly was wrongdoing, at least allegations of it?
In a way, I'd say the reverse of that. That is, I think that they were deferring to the U.S. Attorney and to the federal authorities to allow them to make a case, and they clearly did.
Do you ever remember a conversation where you were asked to find a position for Danny Solis?
No.
Since Mike Madigan has had a piece in legislation for the past 50 years. He helped write the modern Constitution. What would you say to Illinoisans to restore faith in the legislative process?
Well, remember that the vast majority of the people who serve in the General Assembly and broadly in public office have been doing the right thing and not breaking the law and doing what they felt was best for the people of the state of Illinois. So I would say that you should look to your local leaders who've been doing the right thing, to your state leaders who are operating above board and trying hard to lift up working families across the state and not line their own pockets. But I have to say, just, you know, I've said this many times, but it is abhorrent to me when people take public office and either with the purpose of lining their own pockets, of stealing from the public, or who decide somewhere along the way that that's okay, that's abhorrent. We've got to root that out. And at every turn, I think it's all up to all of us who, you know, if we run into situations where we think something's being done that is improper, please call it out. Please let people know, and of course vote those people out if they aren't caught doing something wrong. They need to go.
Why was the state central committee?
Yes, of course.
Talk about ethics that stuff has been done, but there are a number of Democrats who say there still needs to be more work to be done. And do you agree with them? And if so, what more needs to be done in light of what we've seen come out about Madigan to strengthen and really return the public trust?
I think we all need to examine what the charges are. I mean, I will say that the federal authorities, you know, the fact that there are laws that hold people accountable and that they're getting held accountable is evidence that, you know, we, at least in part through the justice system, have ways of catching people and holding them accountable. But there is much more to do, and I've said that from the very beginning. I've been pushing for ethics legislation. We got some of it done. There is more to do. There's no doubt about it. We got rid of the revolving door. Could we do more in that regard? Sure. We've stopped people from, you know, lobbying state government when they're serving in state government. We've done a number of things that I think have made things better, but we've got much, much more to do, and it's clear from an indictment like this that, you know, our work is not done. This should be a wake-up call to everybody in public service that you better toe the line. You better do the right thing. You better stand up for the people that you represent and not try to line your own pockets. Thank you.